Hello again. I wanted to talk about the structure of the D&D Sourcebook today, so that you guys get an idea of the stuff that I plan to put into the book, or where I'm not 100% sure if I should put it into it. And so for that purpose, I created a file in Xmind, and this is the free version that I'm using for the evaluation mode, but it's totally enough for what I need it for. Here I will zoom in so you can see this a bit better. I'm using this to build an overview of how the book will be structured. And so of course we begin with the introduction that you can see here. There's a short text about that. And the introduction is one of the few things that are actually finished in the book. It's this part. And of course the index is still missing. This is not done. And it begins with a short quote from the world to give the player a sense of what this is about and how the world is set up, and then a short introduction of the chapters and what they can expect. The way that the information in the book is written down is explained, and how magic works, how the veil works, which is part of magic, how worship works in the world, and all of these things then give the player a short introduction of this setting, so that they don't have to read the whole book to have an idea of how they can build their characters. Then we start with the overview, which belongs to character creation. Okay, let me zoom out a bit. So this is all character creation. That's where I'm working on right now. Most of the time, I will go more into details when we speak about each part. So first comes, of course, character creation. Then we have the new mechanics in the world. That is probably mostly DM stuff, also for players, like how can they use these mechanics, and some of them are optional. Then, of course, the lore. So this is mostly player and DM stuff. If they want to know more, how's the world set up, where things come from, what is the mythology, and so on and so on. We have, of course, items in the armory, the adventure creation kit if they want to build their own adventure in the world, which the book is mostly made for. And of course, monsters, treasury. Oh, I just see I have this 2 times. And creatures, which I also have kind of... Isn't that the same? All right, so let's start with character creation. That's where I'm mostly working on right now. And so, of course, we have the overview of the races, like what kind of options the players have, the abilities. I made this little thing here to give myself an idea of what these different colors are for. And so these yellow things is everything that defines the character, of the character, like who they are. And the red things are new abilities that they get, or of course existing abilities that we have already. And blue is mechanics, which we don't see here right now. We played a bit with the races because I am thinking of putting the cipher system or parts of the cipher system into D&D. Right now I'm playing with a lot of ideas there, and so we can skip this for now. So the first choice then, of course, is the race. Let's start from the beginning. If you build your character in this, then you either choose your race or your culture first. I'm not sure which one of these 2 things make more sense. I think I probably will let them choose the culture first, as this can have a larger impact of who their character is than the race can be. And when it comes to the races, they can choose the D&D races that exist in the world already. Some of them may not be available, but most of them should. And there are a few new races that I will add to the world. And of course, we have some races that will change in the way that they exist in the world, and maybe how they look like as well. So then we have the cultures. The culture is defining where your character comes from, what kind of languages can they speak. They can get a feature, and of course some fluff. Then we have the characteristics. So this is something that I'm building on right now as well, so I'm not 100% sure how to do this. Basically, your ideals, bonds, and flaws, and of course the personality traits, and the known moonstones. So I'm not 100% sure how this works out for now, but I probably give the players some ways to build these on their own and get an idea of who their character is if they don't want to write these on their own. Then we have the social status, which is also not really done right now. The idea is that it gives you a better idea of where your character is in society. Like, are they free? Are they enslaved? Are they leaders? Are they followers? It's not really defined yet, and I'm not 100% sure if I will put it into the book. Then there is a new thing that is also not defined yet, and that is how your character worships stuff. So if this is something that they want to do, it's mostly fluff, it's mostly roleplay. How do they look to the gods? What kind of view do they have on them? These things. Then come the skills. These are the skill proficiencies, tool proficiencies, equipment, and features that we had in the backgrounds before. So these are now separated from that. These skills will describe what your character did before he started this adventure. So this skill set can come from things that happened to them, but also education, jobs they had, these things. Classes, of course, that's the normal stuff that we know from D&D already. And then we have the touch, which I was speaking of before, which is a set of new abilities that will be unlocked for the player while they are leveling up. Then we have the mechanics. So that's the next large group that has nothing to do with the character creation. Next, we have the mechanics. The first idea here is that I wanted to introduce some sort of resource that the players have to use to do certain things in the world. So how does this encipher? It's really not defined yet, and so I will skip this for now. And I also intend this to be optional. You'll see how this works out in the end. Then comes technology. As technology will be present in the world and we have different levels of it, most of the technology is magic-based, and I will speak about it in more detail in a different video. Then comes the exploration part that will feed into traveling, which is the next point there as well, and which will feed into the character creation and this cipher system resource thing that I want to implement into this setting. And then we have a few optional rules, major and minor effects, which also comes from the cipher system that I still have to look into how we do this, but I really like the idea. And then the next big point is lore, as I mentioned before. So basically, what are the gods? How is the world set up? What are the realms, kingdoms in the world? What are things that are different from the classic D&D setting that can help the DM to interact with the world and the players if they want to? And then, of course, the whole rest is, I think, self-explanatory. So thank you for coming by. If you have more questions, let me know. I will speak more about some of these parts later in different videos. So thank you for coming and have a good day.